Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel, and today, this third episode of my little Lego Monster Hunter series, and today we're building Hirabami from the Ice Shard Cliffs, Monster Hunter Wilds, one of the newest monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds. He's one of my smaller builds, so I figured this would just be a cool little thing to include. Now this guy includes a little stand that you can prop him up on, so he looks like he's flying. But other than that, he can still kind of chill like any other Leviathan, or just like any other Hirabami. Now, I guess it's time to cut to the build. All right, it's time to get building. So to start off, we have our stand. Here's two 2x1 with studs, and they're clear. And then this is a weird little window piece you can find in a lot of older car sets. I don't know if they're in newer ones. I don't buy a ton of cars, but that'll just go up there. And this is a 2x2 clear brick tile, and this is another one of those as seen in the Angina Gel, the little hinge trapdoor piece, I guess. And it's going to be really good if you can get this in white too, but I had black. Here is a clear window piece. If I get this out, you can see this is 3 bricks tall, these window pieces. 3 bricks tall, and then this is a 2x2 1 brick. That's the clear part. And then here is a 2x3 inside of one of these 4x6 slope pieces. And then the base of this stand is on a 4x4 L with 2x2 notches. Yeah, just an L. And here we have one of these little like half curves on a 2x2 frame. And here we have two 2x1 flat stud tiles. Here we have a 2x3 with a notch, curve piece with a notch, a 2x2 curve piece without a notch, and a 2x2 curve piece with a curve right there on the side. And those all go together, and that creates your base. Now to get onto the head, here's the basic framework of the head. Here we have a 1x1 1x1 square, another 1x1 square. This is a 1x1 with a bracket, and here's a cheese slope. Here's 2 peach studs. You could do without the hole, but I just had it with the hole because those are the only peach ones that I have. And I guess this eye color kind of just looked good with the purple and the teal. This is a 1x1 brick with studs on the sides. And right here is a 1x1 brick with studs on all sides. And you can see here we have 2 cheese slopes, and we have a square tile on the top with a round. And then this is a mixable ball joint with that rod connection, so you can put it in there. And then here is a 1x1 with a clip on the top, 1x1 with a bar on the side. And then this is a 1x1 with a 1x1 bracket, a 1x1 brick on top of the bracket, and a cheese slope, or not brick, tile on top of the bracket, and then a cheese slope on top of that tile. And that creates your head. Now for the neck, we'll go section by section. Here's the first section of the neck that's going to connect to the head. Here we have a teal, and here's our mixel joint contraption. You see the slope goes down to the ball joint. And then we have a 2x4 in this light purple with more of these curved pieces on the side, and that'll go there. And then here we have one of these you'll see a lot of these, and this specifically, this is a 3x4. I think it's on the front of some Lego cars. And then we have a 2x2 curve with a notch that also has notches on the edges to kind of point it, to get it pointy. And that will go right there. You can kind of move that out. Here, you can see here's the, if I take these off, more of these car hoods off, here we can see how it sort of works. This is the basic construction, built off of 2 of these little hinge pieces with a Technic axle. And here we have a 2x4 connecting those. And then you could replace this with a 2x4 tool, but I didn't have that. And then these are very simple. These are car hoods, and this is a 2x4 with a notch, slope with a notch. And these are more of the car hoods, and this is a 2x3 curve, or it's a 1x3 with a curve on the side. And then this 2x4 goes on top, and then these 2 of these car hoods with a 2x2 flat goes on top of that, and it kind of covers up the joints on the top. And that helps to, like, you can kind of move the flap on the neck. And then here's the next piece, and that kind of, you can see that kind of slopes it down. And these are just some, here. So that's a 2x3 with a flat on the top, a 1x2 flat. And here's some more 2x1s with a 2x1 curved down notch and a notch in the edge. And you just build that contraption like that on top of this teal 2x3. And then this is a 2x2 with both mixel joint pieces, and those just go like that. And that's the head and the neck. The front portion of the body. Here's the arms, and you'll just duplicate it. Here we have a longer, solid or longer claw piece on top of a 1x1 with a clip on the top. And that'll be on top of this 1x1 round with bar on the side. And you're gonna kind of angle it to where that corner is with, you can see it's with the clip right there. And that kind of gives it a neat little angle. And then these arms, very simple. 2x1 mixel on the end. 2x1, 1x1, clip sideways. 2x1 with the slope and, or not slope, with the curve, and then a cheese slope right there. And that's the front arms. And then here's this one. Again, we have the same construction like right there with the car hoods and the flat 2x2. And then this is the body construction. This is going to be the neck. This could easily be a 2x4. So here you'd have your 2x4, and then you have a 2x3 underneath it, followed with that mixel joint. And then here we have 2 of these 2x1 with ball joint on the end, and then we have 2 of these 2x1 with ball joint in the middle, just as connections for the legs and the body. And then here we have another 2x4 right here, and then we have a 1x1 in teal just placed on that middle section right there, and a 2x2 round. And those all together make up the first half of the body and that neck connection. Here's the second half of the body. Legs, even simpler. You get one of these backward slope pieces, and you put the 1x2 with ball joint on the end, connect it with a ball joint connector, and then just put a slope piece on the top. And then the feet, that's that mixed hole joint with the clip in the middle, and a 1x1 tile with a curve, and one of these 2x2 curve spike pieces pointing that way for the feet. And that's your little feet. Here's the body connection. Another car hood, 1x2 flats, 2x4 right there, and then you have a 2x2 followed by the ball joints for the legs, and then a ball joint at the back with a 2x1 right there in the middle, right there. And then we have some of these more ball joint connectors and a 2x4 to round it off with a 1x1 on top, just to kind of follow the same principles as the front half of the body. So that's the back half of the body. Bam. And then we got the tail. Super simple. 2x2, your ball joint connector and your ball joint, and you got another 2x2 on top, basically making it a brick. And then you got the slope and you fill in the notch. And then right here, you basically make a 3x2 brick out of these connectors, fill it in with another 1x2 tile, and you put a 1x2 tile in the middle section in teal, and then you want to put these kind of 2x1 cheese slips, and that's the tail. Oh, whoopsies. And then here's the end of the tail. To start off, nope, that's not how I want to do that. So you start off with one of these 2x2 rounds. You take a teal with 1x1 clips. You put that on top. Make sure those are in black, because that's the color you want the spikes. And then you want one of these 2x2s, and a 1x2 and another 1x2, but with a ball joint connector. And then here's the top of it. You can see we have more of these spiky slope pieces. And here we have a 2x2 with a notch slope piece right there. And then another slope piece filled in with that. Another car hood that goes on top of there. And then these are just these little rounded 1x1s with a bar connector. And those just go right there. And then these pincers, they're gonna go right here, and that's gonna line up right there. But how you build these pincers is, as you can see, we have one of these full rounds. It's a 1x4 with the notch in the center. And then for the contraption, you get one of these, or you could do, I guess, like a 2x1 or whatever. But you kind of do want a little bit of texture right there. It's a little hard to see. But yeah, you want a little bit of texture right there for the pincer. And then you want one of these upside down 1x2 with the notch, and 1x1 bracket with that 1x1. You're gonna connect that right there. And here you got one of the open studs with another one of these 1x1 rounds with the bar connector. And that will make your pincers. And so your pincers go together. And then that's how you make the end of the tail. And then bam. You got yourself a Hirabami. Ah.